is you've pulled the new consumer, and I hate to look at a child this way, but anybody doing a 20-year market plan would. The new consumer is pulled out of the house. While they're in a daycare environment, they're allowed to use technology as much as they want with almost no oversight. Okay, they're allowed, because how are you going to manage 14 kids with one daycare worker? You say, okay, or even at home. Both parents now are no longer working 20 hours. They're not working 40 hours. They're working 60. They come home, they're exhausted. They say, please, God, just go play your video games. Please look at your iPad, your iPhone. I need time to get things together. And this is where the marketplace manipulation has pulled one of the parents out of the house. They come back after a long workday. They're exhausted. The kid goes to technology. They abuse it. They don't just use it because the parents don't have the time to watch over them the way they should. So here you have kids playing maybe video games that they shouldn't have, or on websites that they shouldn't see. Now you have a much more sophisticated consumer earlier who truly knows how to work their way around this system. Now the lack of governance that comes in was Glass-Steagall, because it put this pressure on. But now you also have something with the DMCA and net neutrality. Net neutrality is supposed to be overturned within the next month, meaning if you have a lot of money as a company, you can pay for better access to your products and sites. If you're a lower end company or not as profitable as a company, you can't afford that fee. So therefore, what they're doing is not making it what it was set out to be, the internet, free access to information for all, but through a lack of governance or through new laws or changing laws, they're refocusing it on just to certain companies that can afford it. One of the things people forget is that the internet was paid for many years ago by your tax dollars. The ISPs, Verizon, whomever, AT&T, is just licensing. Yeah, they ran the lines, but they're actually licensing the internet from the government. So this is where you have the three pieces coming together that are creating what I like to think of as a generation of veal. And Jim Carrey, of all people, the comic, on of all shows, Norm Macdonald's web, YouTube-ish talk show, said, we've been talking about years, joking around about the zombie apocalypse. And he goes, well, it's here. And they're just walking down the street, staring into their hand. So this is what my feeling and my fear is, that we're producing an entire generation of consumers and people who are being consumed because of all the pieces of this perfect storm.
Okay.
I can't believe I'm thinking about this. So I did tie in the other questions, right? But I'd like to be more specific about education, societal.
Yeah.
Okay, if that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
But I would group those three together in the next one.
Yeah.
You understand? Is that all right?
The social model and the children.
Everything straight through, physically, mentally, socially, and educational.
Okay. So do you want to start with how did it affect the educational social models, and then you want to bridge into children physically?
Yeah, I'm going to go kind of 1, 2, 3, but I'm not going to stop. Is what I'm saying.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Let it rip.
These are good pullouts.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely the last time, David, driving around my hometown, seeing all those things, shell shock. And then 106 degrees, no matter we had air conditioning in the car, it still wasn't working.
Yeah.
By the time we got here, my head was like, ooh.
No, yeah, I think the car shots are great. I think there's enough there to pull them out. But I think we needed that setup, that conversation to get to this point.
Absolutely.
So
you got to fail once to do this.
Yeah, well, I don't even think it was fail. I think it was. It was a
prep.
It's pre-production.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So, how did it affect our education and social models?
This new Generation I, Generation Interactive, entered in the late 80s with along hand in hand with the technology. I don't believe these two things just happened. We'll talk more about that, I guess. Educational model, well, you have a bunch of people my age teaching. I'm 61 this year, I'll be 62 very shortly. We're not living the technology the way our students are. So in an educational sense, what we think is a real use of technology, they're kind of laughing at. So there's a distance between teacher and student. So educationally, we're not living up to the advances that are available to us. Societally, we're not governing children the way we should. One of the great analogies I use, and then one of my colleagues used the same one. She used a better one because I was talking about a candy store and she was talking about a produce store. She's healthier than I am. Sending kids loose in an exotic grocery produce store and wondering why they're not putting together the right food for a good, healthy meal. Because we should be governing them and we don't know enough about it to properly help them with their diet. She uses the term.
Back in, use the candy store reference.
Say again?
Use the candy store over.
Start at a candy store?
Yeah, start with the candy store reference instead of produce.
Okay.
Because candy and wondering why they don't eat healthy, I think, makes more sense.
Okay. One of the examples I use is allowing these kids to run free in a candy store for regular lunch. We don't know what's in the store. We don't know what each one of these candies is. Are they good? Are they bad? But we're letting them create their diet. As educators, as parents, as adults, we're supposed to realize this is not the right thing for you. We know what it is. Don't use it. Let me explain to you why. But we can't because they're going too fast for many of us. One of the craziest things that happens with me and my students is they see the gray hair, the gray beard, and they don't know the years I've spent in this space. They identify me with other adults my age. And it takes a while for them to understand my background and experience and starting where I started 30 years ago in this. So they listen to me, believe it or not, as opposed to use this, not that. You're going down the wrong road with this, fix this. It takes a while to earn that trust. That's in a classroom, in a closed environment where they understand teacher, student, maybe. At home, I really do feel so bad for parents today because they are so exhausted. They are so tired, and they are both working so hard to get these kids through this. And it is coming at them at all directions. They need a break. They need a major break from it, but it's not look like it's coming anytime soon. So this candy store to a healthy diet, a healthy, strong, growing mental, physical diet of digital content, it's a very, very tough transition for these parents to make.
Okay.
Good answer?
I like it. I just think that candy was better than.
Yeah.
Because you were wild in a produce store, at least you're around healthy shit.
You got to throw, when we throw, I hope Jen does do this. I really, really respect her because she is like this. And if she does this, it'll be a really good balance because I'm giving a lot of kind of comfort to parents. And I don't think she will. I think she'll be a little harder.
Okay, when you're ready, explain Gen I.
One of the terms I came up with years ago for this generation, before they were mature, was Gen I. Generation interactive, generation iterative, generation isolated, generation isomorphic, generation itinerant. They're moving, but they're not going anywhere. They're with all of their friends, but they're isolated. They're isolated, but they think they're with all of their friends. They're interactive with everything, but extremely passive. It's a very, very, very confusing time for this generation, but they're the pioneers. And that's what happens when you're a pioneer. You wind up with arrows in your back. You're jumping over the fence. They don't really realize it. They just think they're having fun. They are, but I don't think they truly understand the cost of having such fearless approach. It's a great thing. But you can't run through this thinking that Google will have all of the answers. Because one of the key things I'm concerned about with this generation is the physiological effect of not having a sense of memory or a sense of critical thinking or a sense of learning and storage. Now that's a big concern when we talk, teachers. parents, colleagues, and sometimes students, there really are truly concerned that this generation's lack of belief, understanding, or credence given to memory, knowledge, and storage, they treat their lives as if they're living in the cloud. And it's a good thing, but the effects of it physiologically on the brain are just now being studied. You know,